everybody. Welcome to the show here. Ned, I played the saxophone in the band.
Did you?
And I thought it was really good, but each time I would show up to practice, I kept moving down the chairs because, you know, it's first chair,
like,
second chair, third.
That back.
They were just kind of nicely scooting me down the way.
That's okay. Hey, you played the saxophone. That seems like a very complicated instrument.
Yeah.
I was a piano player through high school and then kind of lost it. But, you know, it's in music is a beautiful thing. So, you know, if you have an instrument, there's a good cause that you can help contribute.
Looking forward to sharing that with you. Important skill set to be a musician and to learn how to play. Let's check in with Evan. Did you play anything?
Yeah, I played guitar when I was growing up quite a bit, and then I actually picked it back up where I just recently downloaded the Fender app, and you can get like lessons on hand there, like every day. So I've been trying to do a little bit more each day.
We're looking forward to you serenading us.
Yeah, a little bit of Smoke on the Water. That's always like the easiest song to play on guitar. Good morning to you. We start off our Thursday morning with some chilly overnight lows. Take a look at where we see a frost advisory in effect for our Thursday morning. That's everywhere in blue on your screen. Also got a wind advisory in effect until noon today. Also want to show you why we have that frost advisory. So temperatures very chilly. Look at the 30s that we've got on the screen there. 34 right now in Escondido, 37 in Ramona, and 36 in El Cajon to kick off the day. I promise though, temperatures are going to warm up very quickly. So this is because very clear overnight conditions. Once that sun really starts to gain some momentum, we'll see those temperatures climb into the mid 60s for the afternoon. Let's take a look at what we've got as far as traffic goes. Zooming into Del Mar area. That's where we've got this crash on the 5 northbound. Exit 34 Del Mar Heights Road. Looks like it's starting to cause some slight backups on those northbound lanes. We'll keep you up to date on if we see any changes this morning. Back to you, Eric and Netta.
I want to get some breaking news right now. President Biden says a counterterrorism raid in Syria involving U.S. Special Forces killed the leader of ISIS.
Yeah, the president just now releasing this statement saying last night, at my direction, U.S. military forces successfully undertook a counterterrorism operation. Thanks to the bravery of our armed forces, we have removed from the battlefield Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Quraishi. That's the leader of ISIS. The Pentagon says there were no U.S. casualties, but sources on the ground say there were civilian casualties. They reported about a dozen deaths, including multiple women and children.
President Biden is expected to talk about the raid here later on this hour. We are expecting a CBS News special report around 6:30 our time, and we will bring it to you as soon as it begins. San Diegans continue to sound off over the unexplainable spike in utility bills.
This has so many families talking, right? Not so happy about them. So we looked into how SDG&E's rates compare to other cities and found that we are paying the highest in the country. What is up with that? CBS 8's Chris Groh live outside SDG&E headquarters with a closer look at why our rates keep going up. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Eric and Netta. And look, when you take a look at the raw numbers, it is pretty jarring. In fact, take a look for yourself how we compare to other Southern California cities in our area and other counties, I should say. And San Diegans do pay an average of 36.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Last December, LA paid 33% less than us, and Riverside County residents, you guessed it, also less than us. In fact, Hawaii's average rate was almost 3 cents less per kilowatt hour. Now, SDG&E has said multiple times that a rate increase was announced, but the reason why is something that many customers want to know. Well, we did ask for an on-camera interview and they declined, and we spoke with them on the phone, and they pointed to the 2007 wildfires where the company's power lines were to blame. They claim billions of dollars have been spent since then overhauling their system. That includes replacing wood poles with steel and undergrounding wires. We spoke also with Edward Lopez with the Utilities Consumers Action Network, and he says it's important to note that even with billions of dollars in profit, the cost of that work is passed on to customers and not shareholders.
SDG&E has implemented a number of mitigation measures that are good. But remember, SDG&E customers ultimately pay for this, not the shareholder of SDG&E.
And SDG&E also released a statement in response to the concern from customers about rate increases. If you'd like to read that, you can go to our website at cbs8.com. Just click on that story link. Eric and Netta.
Chris Groh, thank you so much. And we are hearing a lot from you, our viewers, about this. So here's Patty, and she writes, in 1 month, my SDG&E bill more than doubled. Kimberly says, I cut my electricity use in January, yet my bill was more than December. My bill used to average $60 for the month of January, even though I cut my usage. My bill now $170. That's money people don't budget for. And Jeremy says, it's absolutely ridiculous. Our bill jumped by about $100 this month. We haven't been doing anything differently in regards to usage. Price gouging is disgusting. So San Diegans do have a new choice now for electricity. And just a few minutes from now, we're going to take a closer look at the energy program called San Diego Community Power. We'll explain how it works. So stay tuned for that. Eric.
A lot of people interested in that, that's for sure. Well, there's some big changes that could be coming to the county as new leadership is about to take over the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Bill Gore officially retiring here today. This morning, CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is looking into what this means for the future of the department. Good morning.
Good morning to you both. I mean, this announcement came as a surprise to many people. Sheriff Gore says some of the biggest challenges for whoever replaces him will be filling the newly budgeted mental health positions, as well as maintaining that collaborative environment for the law enforcement here in San Diego.
To look at issues like drugs and our white-collar crime or gangs, our violent crimes, and putting together law enforcement from different agencies, not just local, but federal, state, and local, all together, and attacking that crime problem together. So we're not reinventing the wheel, we're not duplicating resources. It just doesn't happen in other parts of the country. In San Diego County, we talk.
Now, the big question for Sheriff Gore is, why is he retiring 10 months before the end of his current term in office? Well, he told CBS 8 his wife is sick and she needs his support. He shared he's spending half the time with his wife and the other time on the job, and he felt like he wasn't doing either one of them as well as he would like. But skeptics and critics wonder if the sheriff is now leaving 10 months early to avoid scrutiny with an upcoming state audit related to deaths in San Diego jails. But Gore shared that that's a misconception. He actually looks forward to the audit for the recommendations for ways to improve operations in jails. He says that the current budget is allowing to hire 250 more deputies, nurses, and mental health clinicians to work in those conditions. Now, candidates to replace Sheriff Gore have already lined up for the primary election in June. Sheriff Gore has endorsed his number 2 command under Sheriff Kelly Martinez as a candidate for his replacement. Martinez has been with the Sheriff's Department for more than 3 decades. Other candidates include former Sheriff Commander Dave Meyer and John Hemmerling as the lead prosecutor in the San Diego City's Attorney Criminal Division. Now, Gore says that whoever does replace him, they will face challenges, but of course he hopes the most success for whoever comes after him. Now, voters will go to the polls in June of 2022 for those primary election to determine the candidates who will go head-to-head in November later this year. Live in San Diego, I'm Dana Marie McNichol. Send it back to you.
Dana Marie, thank you for that update. Well, 3 of the 4 teens accused of killing a 14-year-old boy in Mount Hope are expected to make their first court appearance today. These suspects are between 17 and 19 years old. Eric Ballanzar, who you see right there, was shot while walking home from school on Monday afternoon. He was walking with a group of people on 36th near J Street when at least 1 shot was fired from a silver SUV. Police arrested those 4 suspects shortly after. 1 person is dead, 4 others are hurt after a mass shooting in Northern California. And 1 person is in custody right now. Oroville police responded to calls of a shooting inside a Greyhound bus last night. Officers arrived and found at least 5 shooting victims, including the one who died at the scene. Police tracked down a suspect at a local Walmart. No word on the motive.
Local troops are not being deployed to Eastern Europe amid tensions between Ukraine and Russia, but there may still be local military impact. San Diego-based USS Carl Vinson is reportedly staying longer in the Mediterranean. This comes as the Biden administration sends 2,000 soldiers from Fort Bragg in North Carolina. The move aims to show Russia that the U.S. is watching as the country increases its military presence along Ukraine's border.
Well, much of the country right now is cold, but so are we, just obviously not as bad.
Cold,
right?
yeah, it's a relative term. I mean, we've got parts of the country, especially toward the Midwest, that are under snow right now and also seeing sub-freezing temperatures. In some cases, sub-zero temperatures. We are in the 30s for the most part, but it is still nonetheless a cold start to the day in San Diego, because average San Diego overnight lows are usually the mid to upper 40s. So instead of that, we're dealing with mid 30s out there. 34 for Escondido, 37 for Poway, 36 for El Cajon. So let's take a look at the 24-hour temperature change compared to yesterday. Where are we? So we are colder across the board pretty much. Ramona is only 1 degree warmer, but Poway 2 degrees cooler, 6 degrees cooler in San Diego, 9 degrees colder in El Cajon and Alpine, and 5 degrees colder at Mount Laguna compared to yesterday. Now, by the time we get to the afternoon, we'll warm up nicely. We've got mid 60s in play. Santa Ana winds not quite as active this afternoon compared to yesterday. They died down by this afternoon, but then pick right back up late tonight into early tomorrow. So don't let your guard down too much. Those Santa Anas will come back and forth, and then we'll get a brief stretch of onshore flow for Saturday before Sunday brings those Santa Anas back in play. Not much relief in sight, but the good news with this is that these temperatures are going to warm. Although today we're only in the mid 60s, expect mid 70s by the time we get into the beginning and middle portion of next week. Winds are still breezy. They'll remain offshore. You can see Alpine right now in the 40-mile-per-hour range. Very breezy out there in Alpine. 22 at Sill Hill and Mount Laguna, and it looks like most other spots, especially along the greater coastline, are mostly in the high single digits. Now, when we talk about traffic this morning, we've got a couple things to note. As we start off the day, traffic on the Coronado Bridge is heavy, especially as you head down to about the Imperial Beach area. But as far as crashes and collisions go, I just want to mention one thing. There's a crash that we have on the northbound 5. This is at the Del Mar Heights Road exit. Looks like a car went off into a ditch is what it looks like. They're working to get crews on scene to be able to clear that, but it does look like right now that off-ramp on the Del Mar Heights Road exit is currently closed. Back over to you, Eric Anetta.